Everyone. So it's a common issue when a kid wants to pursue a career in a field that's really hard to make it in, like acting, music, sports, dance, and their parents might encourage them to pursue a more stable, realistic career instead. I used to get really mad when parents in stories would try to talk their kids out of pursuing what they loved. Now, I had wanted to be a Broadway star part of the time I was in high school, and I got talked out of it. My parents told me that I'd understand when I was older, that if I ever had kids, I'd want to make sure that they had stable incomes when they grew up. While I do understand that now that I'm older, I also have a better understanding of why I wanted that career in theater in the first place and how our culture is structured in such a way that many of us feel the need to pursue careers in the fields that we love, regardless of the odds of making it. So when I was a teenager, theater was my passion. And when I'm passionate about something, I want to be doing that thing all the time on a regular basis without ever having to worry that I suddenly won't be able to do it anymore. As I approached the end of my high school years, I was very worried that I would have a problem continuing theater. When you're in high school and younger, play directors will often prioritize letting everyone into a show who wants to be in it. You might do musicals with big chorus numbers where you can have as many people as you want in the chorus. Sometimes directors will even add parts for extras. My high school director often added crowd scenes when the script didn't even call for extras, just to allow everyone to participate. But once you're out of high school, theater doesn't prior every theater that you go to doesn't prioritize doing shows with large casts. I didn't get lead roles in high school, and so I could not count on getting into shows with smaller casts on a consistent basis. At the college level, people don't place as much importance on including everyone. Most of the plays that I tried out for in college had small casts, and I wasn't able to get in. I was deeply concerned about this before I even went to college and about what would happen after college was over. I had tried out at my local community theater multiple times and hadn't gotten in. Getting into a musical at my community theater was a priority for me, not only because it would have been fun, but also because I was hoping to become a regular at that theater. So I could feel secure that I'd get to continue performing after high school on a regular basis. That was my original plan. I wasn't planning to be a professional actor. I didn't want to move to New York or California, and I definitely did not want to be on tour and living on the road. And financial stability was important to me as well. It wasn't a good career fit for me. I was happy to have theater remain my top priority and continue performing at the community theater level while having a career in a different field. The problem was that I was getting constant pressure to not prioritize theater in my life. I kept saying that theater was my number one priority, while everyone else kept pushing me to put school first and my potential career first. When I said that I needed to make sure that I was always able to perform at this particular community theater, that I wasn't willing to move away from it or have a career that didn't allow me to perform there, my parents had a problem with that and wanted me to put my career first. Now, I should mention that I had always planned to be an author when I grew up. So it wasn't like I had another specific career plan that I was tossing aside because it would conflict with play rehearsals. And I should also mention that for my entire life, I had always said that I was planning to stay where I was living, that I was never going to move far away from home. So it's not like I was originally planning to relocate for a job and now I suddenly changed my mind. Staying near this theater was right in line with what I had always said I was going to do. There are some passions, like writing, that you can work around whatever else you're doing. You don't need to be in a particular location. You don't need to be free at any particular time of day. And it's a solitary activity. So you don't need to be around other writers or be in a writing group. As long as I have the time and energy to write, I can pretty much work it around whatever else I'm doing. Theater is different. I had to be someplace that had a community theater. It has to have rehearsals at a time when I wasn't working, and I had to know that I would get into the shows on a consistent basis. And like I said before, once you're out of high school, theaters don't always prioritize doing shows with large casts so that lots of people can participate. In order to ensure that I would get to perform on a consistent basis, I needed to prioritize theater and work everything else around it. But I saw that this was a problem. I felt like I wasn't allowed to center my life around theater if it wasn't going to be my career. I knew that I lived in a career focused culture, that even when people talk about work life balance, the life part often means spending time with your family and specifically with your children, going to their soccer games and their dance recitals rather than your own. How many working adults do you know who are seriously focused on something like an art or a sport without the intention of ever making that into a career? I know there are adults like that, but it's much harder to find people with that kind of focus than it was when we were younger in school. I saw that if I wanted to keep doing theater beyond school on a regular basis, I had to make it my career. That was how I made the decision, not because I wanted the career, but because I didn't see any other way that I'd get to continue doing what I loved. When you're talking to someone who wants to pursue a career in a field that they're passionate about, but unlikely to make it in, it's important to understand the cultural context. Understand how much emphasis our culture puts on a person's career and how much focus people are expected to have on their careers over other things that might matter more to them. It's only logical that someone living in this culture should try to make a career out of what they want to focus on. My parents were right that theater would not have been a good career for me. Even if I did make it, I would not have liked the lifestyle. But sometimes it doesn't feel like a choice between doing your passion as a career versus not as a career. It feels more like a choice between doing your passion as a career or possibly never doing it again, or never doing it with the serious focus that you once had. So before trying to convince someone that a field isn't right for them, or that they have a 1 in a million chance of making it, work with them on coming up with a backup plan. Not a backup career plan, but a rock solid plan for how they can continue to focus on their passion if they don't make it as a professional. What you love shouldn't have to be your career in order for it to be the focus of your life. Following your dreams wouldn't have to mean making a career out of your dreams if we all shifted our focus to what we love. So let's all help each other to follow our passions and keep all of our dreams alive.